What's good, everyone? It is your boy, the Bull, checking in, and it's time to fill out my NCAA tournament bracket. But before I start, I'm going to give you 5 bold predictions that will happen in this NCAA tournament. My first bold prediction is that, you know, there is going to be at least 4 double-digit seeds that will make the Sweet 16 this year. I'm loving the 10 through 13 seeds are very strong this year. And we have a couple of top 6 seeds that are pretty weak. So we'll see what I do there. My second bold prediction is that we will not have a repeat champion and they will not make it out of their region. And you know who I'm referring to. Loaded region in that one. My third bold prediction is that both playing game winners on that 10 line are both going to win their first round matchup. That's right. And then my fourth bold prediction is that it'll be the fourth straight year that a 15 will take out a 2 in the first round. And then finally, my final bold prediction is that multiple 13 seeds will pull a first round upset. So those are my 5 bold predictions. And now let's dive into my official bracket. So we're gonna go round by round, and we're gonna go top left, down, top down, and then over, and then top down. All right, we're gonna go round by round. So we're gonna start off with the first round in the East region, which is the top left corner. So we got UConn and Stetson, and I think UConn wins the game, but don't be surprised if Stetson keeps it close for a half, because Jalen Blackman's a fantastic scorer, and Stetson can score quite a bit, but I just don't think they'll get enough stops to win. Give me Connecticut. Next, we got FAU and Northwestern. This is a toss-up game, and Florida Atlantic, they do have that Final Four experience. They did bring back almost everybody from last year's team, but I feel like they kind of stayed the same or got worse. They really didn't improve and dominate like I was expecting them to do. And then Northwestern, they have an extremely good player in Boo Buie, and he lives for March moments like this. I'm going with Northwestern over Florida Atlantic. And they will face UConn. Next, we got San Diego State and UAB in the 5 versus 12 matchup. And this is a great big man matchup between San Diego State's Jaden Ledee and UAB's Axel Lendeborg. But here's what determines this game. The experience that San Diego State has. And also UAB is not very good defensively. And they're a very streaky team, UAB, from the outside. I mean, they did catch fire in the American Conference tournament, but a tough defense like San Diego State can shut them down. I got San Diego State. Next, we got Auburn and Yale in the 4 versus 13 matchup. Auburn, I think this is a team that is deep. They're talented. They're well coached. And I think Yale, they have a great starting 5. Polykatus, Mahoney, they can all knock down threes. And they got a big 7-footer in Danny Wolf. He's going to have his hands full with Janai Broome for Auburn. I'm going to go with Auburn because Yale's not very deep. So give me the Tigers. Moving on. BYU and Duquesne. And this one, I see a lot of people taking Duquesne as an upset. Yes, Duquesne, first time in the NCAA tournament since 1977 by winning the A10 tournament. But BYU, this team can really shoot the ball, especially from the 3-point line. They make 11 threes per game, which is near the top of the country, and they shoot a very high percentage. It's a team that gets hot, they're very balanced, and they can knock down that 3 ball. Duquesne, I just feel like they kind of go on cold stretches offensively, even though Dade Grant and Jimmy Clark are very good guards. I just don't see the rest. They need a third guy to step up, and I don't see it. Give me BYU. Next, we got Illinois and Morehead State. And Morehead, I think they have the formula to pull an upset over Illinois, but I don't see it. Illinois, great offense. Marcus Domask and Terrence Shannon are both playing great basketball right now. And I think Coleman Hawkins can at least slow down Riley Minix. And I just think that Illinois can dictate the pace and go fast here. And I got Illinois over Morehead State. Wazoo and Drake. And this is a tough 7 versus 10. I'm really struggling with this game. Washington State, great season under Kyle Smith, and Isaac Jones and Miles Rice had great season, both averaging around 15 a game. And this Drake team, they're tough. Tucker DeVries, that boy can ball, man. And they're very experienced with Darnell Brody inside as well. And they limit second chance opportunities on defense. I'm going with Drake over Washington State, but it's going to be a very close game. And then we got Iowa State and South Dakota State, the TJ Otzelberger revenge game. And everybody knows that he started his career at South Dakota State, and now he's at Iowa State after a quick stop at UNLV. Iowa State, this defense is just absolutely nasty. And South Dakota State this year is not as good as years past. I mean, Zeke Mayo, William Kyle, two good players that they have, but the rest of the team, I think they will struggle against this pressure of Iowa State's defense. They'll give me the Cyclones. Now we're going to go down to the West region, North Carolina and Wagner. And bless Wagner. Congratulations for winning that first 4 game against Howard, but only 7 available bodies is not going to help. So give me North Carolina. Next, we got Mississippi State and Michigan State in that 8-9 game. And this one's going to be a tight one. I just don't understand the hype that Michigan State is receiving just because of Tom Izzo and they always do good in the tournament. I really love this Mississippi State team, especially in this matchup, because Tolu Smith can dominate inside, and Michigan State does not have a very good center. In fact, they just have a carousel of really bad centers. And I think Tolu Smith, if he can dominate this match on the interior and Josh Hubbard hits shots, Mississippi State is going to beat Michigan State in the very first game of the NCAA tournament. Give me the Bulldogs. Next, we got St. Mary's and Grand Canyon. This is a very tempting upset pick, very popular upset pick that a lot of people are picking Grand Canyon. Here's why I'm not picking Grand Canyon. Because I watched Grand Canyon play their WAC title game, and I was not impressed. I thought they should have beaten Texas Arlington by 30, but they only ended up winning by 10. And with all the turnovers they forced and all the free throws they missed, that will not cut it against St. Mary's. St. Mary's is tough defensively, and they got Aiden Mahaney and Alex Dukas, who is their most important player. I got St. Mary's winning over Grand Canyon. Alabama and Charleston in the 4-13. And this could be a shootout because both teams know how to score the basketball. But here's my problem with this Alabama team. They cannot defend. Their defense is god awful. They allow 81 points per game. And Charleston matches up very well with Alabama. I think Ante Berzovic, Ryan Smith can all have good games in this particular first round matchup. I love Charleston. Upset Alabama. Give me the Cougars. Next, we got Clemson and New Mexico. And New Mexico is built for a Cinderella run with the roster that they have. They have great guard play with Mashburn, House, Dent. And then you have these two big guys that really work hard on the glass in Toppin and Junior Joseph. And Clemson, PJ Hall's a fantastic player. They have decent guards like Gerard and Hunter. But I feel like New Mexico is built as something to prove after being deemed as a bid stealer. And they are definitely not a bid stealer. They will prove that by beating Clemson. Give me New Mexico. Moving on. Next, we got Baylor and Colgate in the 3-14 matchup. And people are saying Colgate can upset them. I think if I'm Baylor, I would be smiling at this matchup because you just got a really good draw here because Colgate is not as good as they were in the past. And Braden Smith, even though he's the player of the year, the Patriot League is weak, is not strong enough. And the only times that Colgate played any good team, that was Illinois and Arizona. They got killed by 25 plus both times. I'm going with Baylor by 25 plus. Give me Baylor in this matchup. Dayton and Nevada. And this one, Dayton, they've been reeling a little bit. Deron Holmes is an All-American. He's a great player. And I just think that they don't have depth. They only play 7 guys. And Nevada, this is a team that's very talented, great backcourt with Jared Lucas and Keenan Blackshear. And I love me some Nick Davidson too. I think he can at least slow down Deron Holmes a little bit. I'm going with Nevada over Dayton. They'll win by at least 8 points. And then finally, Arizona and Long Beach State. And this one is going to be a fun one. I think it's going to be way closer than people think. A lot of people are taking Arizona to go to their Final Four, and I don't see it. I really don't see it. Arizona, Caleb Love, I just think that is a huge downgrade from what they had the last 2 years at the point guard position. And Omar Ballo is a terrible free throw shooter, and they might go hack a Ballo here. Dan Monson going to go out strong. And Marcus Tsohonis, one thing about Marcus Tsohonis, he shows up in big games. His best games this year are against really good teams. He had 35 against Michigan, 28 against USC, 25 in the Big West Championship. And he knows that this is a big game and he's going to come to play. I got Long Beach State upsetting Arizona in the first round, and I do not trust Tommy Lloyd. Give me the Beach upsetting Arizona. Next, we got Houston and Longwood. And I think Longwood had a great Big South tournament run, and they beat High Point. They beat Asheville, dominated Asheville. And Longwood has played tough. This is not an easy 16 seed, but Houston should win the game anyways, just because that defense is just nasty. Give me Houston. Next, we got Nebraska and Texas A&M. And I was a pure 50-50 on this game. I was really strong with this game because I love this Nebraska team. And Keisei Tominaga, when he gets hot, man, he's one of the more fun players to watch in the entire country. And then Texas A&M, Wade Taylor and Tyrus Radford are playing great basketball. And the Aggies' offensive rebounding is really, really tough. And I got Texas A&M in a very close game over Nebraska. Give me Texas A&M. Wisconsin and James Madison, very popular upset pick, and for good reason because James Madison can really play. They turned some heads on opening day when they went to East Lansing and won at Michigan State. And Terrence Edwards, the player of the year in the Sun Belt, and he's a fantastic player. And JMU averages about 84 points per game. They love to push the pace. And Wisconsin, they are a little bit better than last year. And AJ Storr is a fantastic player. But I think James Madison upsets Wisconsin. I really wouldn't even view this as an upset. Give me the Dukes. Duke and Vermont in the 4-13 matchup. Duke, they've been a little bit iffy this year. Not as good as people expected in terms of preseason expectations. And Vermont, I think they took a step back as well, even though they continuously win the America East. And John Becker is a fantastic coach, but Duke's going to win the game just because they have more talent. Give me Duke. Texas Tech and North Carolina State. And I don't understand the NC State hype. Yes, they won 5 games in 5 days in the ACC tournament. That's impressive just to even make the tournament. But I think that they're going to be a little bit fatigued against a very good Texas Tech offense led by Pop Isaacs. Give me Texas Tech. Next, we got Kentucky and Oakland. And this one's going to be a shootout because Oakland got some players. Terry Townsend's the player of the year in the Horizon League, and they got some shooters. And I love Greg Kampe. He always challenges his team in the non-conference with a tough non-conference schedule by playing Michigan State, Illinois, Ohio State, and playing them tough. And Kentucky is another team that they can at least score quite a bit on. But I think Kentucky wins this game just because of more talent, and I gotta go with the Wildcats here. Florida versus Colorado because Colorado just beat Boise State today in the playing game. So this one's gonna be an interesting matchup. Florida, they can definitely score the basketball. They rebound the basketball very well. However, here's the 2 problems that they have. The injury to Michael Handlockton, 7'1" center. That is why their rebounding is going to take a huge hit in this game. And then they have to deal with Eddie Lampkin as well. And then the second problem is Florida does not play defense either. And Colorado, even though they had a bad offensive game against Boise, they played really good defensively, and they're not going to have a bad game again. I'm going with Colorado over Florida in the 10-7 upset. Marquette and Western Kentucky in the 2-15. And look, Marquette is a hard team to predict because of the health of Tyler Kolek. If he does play, Marquette will win the game with no problem. If he does not play, this game is going to be closer than expected. And Western Kentucky, they love to push the pace. Steve Lutz had a great year. But I just think that Marquette is going to win the game here. Give me Marquette. Next, we have the Midwest region, Purdue and Grambling. Grambling, congratulations to Grambling in their first ever NCAA tournament game. They got a win over Montana State in overtime. And they're going to face Zach Edey and Purdue. And I just don't see Purdue losing to a 16 seed for the second straight year. Give me the Boilermakers. Next, we got Utah State and TCU. And this is a good game. And Utah State coming from nothing. They literally returned 0 players from last year. Danny Sprinkle comes in, brings in Great Osibor and Darius Brown with him from Montana State. They added some they recruited some guys. They added some transfers that made some big impacts. And TCU is a tough team. This is a very solid 9 seed. And they love to push the pace. They lead the nation in fast break points. I gotta go with TCU over Utah State. Then Gonzaga and McNeese, 5 versus 12. This should be a great game. And Gonzaga, they consistently make the Sweet 16. But I'm not as high on Gonzaga as I am as years past. I just think that their lack of depth, they only play 7 guys, is very concerning against a very tough McNeese team. And yes, I know McNeese played a weak schedule. I know the Southland sucks, and I get that. Will Wade did a fantastic job. Shahada Wells, the player of the year in the Southland, and Christian Shoemate's the decoy. I gotta go with McNeese upsetting Gonzaga in the round of 64. Give me the Cowboys. Next, we got Kansas and Samford. And everybody knows the news of Kevin McCullar. He will not play this entire NCAA tournament, and that is a crushing blow to Kansas's chances here. Samford, they've had a great year in the SoCon. They press. They force turnovers. They shoot a lot of threes. They make a lot of threes, and they play a ton of bodies. And that their depth will wear down Kansas. Samford upsets Kansas. Give me the Bulldogs. Next, we got South Carolina and Oregon, and I'm back and forth on this one because South Carolina, great season. They overachieved by a lot. Lamont Paris, fantastic job. Michi Johnson has been struggling. BJ Mack and Colin Murray Boyles, very good inside presence that they have. And Oregon, they're starting to peak at the right time. Dana Altman, I loved picking Dana Altman to win at least 2 games every season that Oregon makes the tournament. And N'Faly Dante is a fantastic player inside. And Jackson Shelstad as a freshman has been playing a lot better too. Give me Oregon over South Carolina in the Jermaine Couisnard revenge game. Give me Oregon. Next, we got Creighton and Akron. And Akron, I think, can hang for at least a half. This big man matchup is really good with Ryan Kalkbrenner and Enrique Freeman. And Freeman leads the nation in rebounding and double doubles. He has 30 double doubles in 34 games. He's an absolute stud. And going against one of the best defensive players in the Big East and all of the country, and Ryan Kalkbrenner, is going to be a tough draw for him. And I don't think Akron's guards are good enough to pull the upset here. I got Creighton in this game. Next, we got Texas and Colorado State. And Texas, I'm not as high on Texas as I am used to being. Max Abmas, Tyrese Hunter, Dylan Disu, got solid players. I just feel like, and then Colorado State, they did beat Virginia handily in their playing game. And Isaiah Stevens is fantastic, like I've said in my first 4 breakdown. And also, this team is really well balanced. Like Joel Scott had a big game he had a double-double against Virginia. Patrick Cardio can knock down a 3 and stretch the floor. Nick Clifford had a great game as well. And I'm going with Colorado State over Texas in the 10-7. Then we got Tennessee and St. Peter's, the 2 versus 15. And St. Peter's is back. After 2 years ago, they made the Elite 8 run as a 15 team. But you get to face Dalton Knecht in Tennessee. And Tennessee is, I look, I don't trust Rick Barnes as much as anybody, but I do love Dalton Knecht. Give me Tennessee. Now let's go back to the top left. And we got UConn and Northwestern. And I feel like, you know that UConn is a defending champion, right? And defending champions have not done well. And they've not made it out of the first weekend since 2017. That curse ends this year. UConn's going to beat Northwestern. But it's going to be close because Boo Buie can hoop. San Diego State and Auburn. This is going to be a great matchup. San Diego State, physical defensively. Auburn, a lot of depth. And Johni Broome is a fantastic player inside. I'm going Auburn over San Diego State in a very close game. BYU and Illinois. This is going to be a track meet. This is going to be a shootout. But I think BYU can get enough stops to win this game. I'm going BYU over Illinois. Next, we got Drake and Iowa State. Battle of Iowa here. And Tucker DeVries, great player, but has he seen a defense as good as Iowa State? No, he has not. Iowa State has definitely improved on offense as well by adding Keyshawn Gilbert from UNLV. You also add Tammin Lissy has improved his jump shot. It went from like 25% to 38% from beyond the arc. You add Masilovic. You also had Curtis Jones off the bench. And these big men just bust hard, man. They really work hard. I'm going to Iowa State over Drake. Next, we're going to go down here, North Carolina and Mississippi State. And people are having North Carolina on upset alert. But I feel like I think North Carolina can win this game over Mississippi State because RJ Davis is a fantastic guard. And I think he can match up really well with Josh Hubbard. And I think Armando Bacot can neutralize Tolu Smith. And Smith is not a good free throw shooter either. So I'm going with UNC over Mississippi State. Then we got St. Mary's and Charleston. And Charleston, last year, they played San Diego State, but they played them tough, but they struggled to score against a tough defense. St. Mary's has a tough defense, and I'm going with St. Mary's over Charleston. New Mexico and Baylor. And this one is going to be a really, really good game. It might be one of the games of the entire tournament. And this is a game where Jacoby Walter is a fantastic player, but experience wins the day. I'm going with New Mexico upsetting Baylor and going to the Sweet 16. Nevada and Long Beach State. And Nevada, great guard play, like I said, Lucas and Blackshirt. And then Long Beach State and the Cinderella run for Dan Monson. However, it's going to end for Dan Monson here in round of 32. Give me Nevada over Long Beach State. Next, we have Houston and Texas A&M. Battle of Texas, and this is going to be a great game. I think that Texas A&M can expose Houston a little bit, but I think that Houston's going to win the game just because they're going to get enough stops at the end. I got the Cougars. And then James Madison and Duke. The Dukes versus Duke. And this is going to be an interesting matchup because James Madison can play and they can hang with a team like Duke. And I just don't think Duke is very good as they are used to being. I'm going James Madison over Duke in the upset. Texas Tech and Kentucky. And I feel like this game is going to be higher scoring again because Kentucky does not play defense and Texas Tech struggles on the glass. So, and Kentucky has a lot of size on the interior, and I think they can get a lot of second chances in this game. And then if Rob Dillingham, Reed Shepherd, Antonio Reeves hit shots from the outside, I think they win again. So give me Kentucky. Colorado and Marquette. And again, I'm very, very concerned with Marquette. And this is a team that's very hard to predict. And I just don't see them stopping Eddie Lampkin, KJ Simpson, and this Colorado offense. Give me the Buffs, upsetting Marquette. Then we got Purdue and TCU. And Purdue, they traditionally struggle in the NCAA tournament. I do not trust Matt Painter. And TCU, I think, matches up very well with Purdue. They have a lot of depth, especially on the interior, to throw multiple bodies at Zach Edey. And I think they can apply some pressure on these Purdue guards. Give me TCU upsetting Purdue. Next, we have McNeese and Samford in the 12 versus 13 matchup. And winner goes to the Sweet 16. McNeese, very tough defensively. They're fifth in the country in defense. They also force 16 turnovers per game. And same as Samford also forces 16 turnovers per game. McNeese second in the country in steals. And Samford's offense is really, really good. But I think McNeese can neutralize that offense. And I'm going to go with McNeese over Samford and go to the Sweet 16. Oregon and Creighton. And this one's interesting because Creighton has great guard play. Oregon, they are very experienced and they also have solid guard play as well. And N'Faly Dante versus Ryan Kalkbrenner, another great matchup on the interior. I'm going Oregon over Creighton to win this game. And then we got Colorado State and Tennessee. And this one's going to be a tough one, but I think Tennessee wins the game. Dalton Knecht's going to hit a clutch bucket at the end. Give me Tennessee. And then we have our Sweet 16 set. And we're going to start UConn and Auburn on the top left. And this is where the defending champs go down. Auburn's going to upset UConn because it's so hard to repeat. And the last time a champion repeated was 2006, 2007, the Florida Gators. And I don't see UConn repeating, especially in a loaded region against SEC champion, Big Ten champion, Big 12 champion, and two Final Four members from last year, including them. So I'm going Auburn over UConn in the upset. BYU and Iowa State, a classic Big 12 battle. They split in the regular season. BYU won at home. Iowa State won at home. Neutral site, Iowa State's going to win due to their defense. Give me Iowa State. Next, we got North Carolina and St. Mary's. And I feel like this is where the run ends for St. Mary's. Even though they are tough and they can dictate pace, but I just think North Carolina is more skilled. I got North Carolina. Nevada and New Mexico. Interesting Mountain West battle. Nevada lost both meetings to New Mexico in the regular season. They got blown out at the pit. They lost a close one at home. And then on neutral site, New Mexico's going to win a third time, but in between those two, it's going to be New Mexico in the Elite Eight. Houston and James Madison, a 1 versus a 12. This is where the Cinderella run ends for the Dukes against a very tough Houston defense. Give me Houston. And then we got Kentucky and Colorado, and I think that Kentucky's going to outscore Colorado in a shootout and that end this playing game run that Colorado makes. So give me Kentucky. And then we have TCU and McNeese State and the Shahada Wells revenge game. As McNeese's best player, he transferred from TCU this offseason. And I just think that TCU is going to exploit Will Wade's team. I got TCU. Oregon and Tennessee, interesting matchup here. And I think that Oregon can keep it close, but I think Tennessee is going to prevail in the end. Give me Tennessee. So my Elite Eight is set. We have Auburn and Iowa State. And this is going to be a very fun matchup. And I got Iowa State over Auburn thanks to that defense. Next, we got North Carolina and New Mexico. I feel like I need a 1 seed. And North Carolina is going to be my 1 seed in the Final Four. Next, we have Houston and Kentucky. And I feel like Houston can get exposed by explosive offenses. And Kentucky has definitely an explosive offense. Because we saw last year, Houston got exposed by Miami, who had a really, really good offense, and they got hot. Kentucky gets hot. I think they beat Houston. Give me Kentucky. And then finally, we have TCU and Tennessee. And I'm going to go with Tennessee. Dalton Knecht to the Final Four. I just think this is the year that Rick Barnes makes the Final Four. And then we have my Final Four set, Iowa State and North Carolina. And I'm going with the upset. I'm going to Iowa State because I think their defense is going to force enough turnovers to win this game. And they're going to the final. Then we have Kentucky and Tennessee for the third time this year. And I'm going to go with Tennessee over Kentucky. And then my final is Iowa State versus Tennessee. And my national champion is the Iowa State Cyclones. And they're going to win 74-70. Because I think, and my MVP for Iowa State is Tamin Lipsey. So thank you all for tuning in. And if you have not submitted your brackets yet, do it now or do it in the morning on Thursday before the games start. And if you have not signed up in my bracket challenge, do that as well. I will post a link in the description below. That's all for tonight. I'm Dan Spielvogel, the Bull, and I'm signing out. And good luck on your NCAA tournament brackets.